Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
I shall begin with a little haiku. Two people are sat in their cosy living room talking about film.
That's true. It is.
It's not the most prolific haiku that's ever been written, but it's something.
What makes a haiku?
So the way haikus are written, it goes 5, 7, 5, and that's in how many syllables the words are.
Am I being daft? So it's not like when you say syllables.
Like Sophie is 2 syllables.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Paul is 1 syllable. So
So does that mean I'm extra special because I've got an extra syllable?
but mine's straightforward. It's Paul 1 syllable. It's less effort.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm more unique because I'm more.
So for a really long name, it's more
So
even
like
more special.
Isabella.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like your mum, Karen, she's just 1.
No, that's 2.
Karen. Oh yeah, God. I was never good at English. Can you tell? That's why
It's
they
not
didn't
really
put.
an English thing, to be fair, is it? But
Well, I'm guessing you learn it in English though. English
haikus?
literature. No, but literature, like you
yeah.
syllable, whatever they're called.
Anyway.
Jesus, you can tell who's the educated one here, can't you? So the reason that we're on about haikus
is because they're quite heavily featured in this film we are talking about today, which is Hunt for the Wilderpeople, a 2016 film directed by Taika Waititi. Now, we already covered a film of his earlier on in the year. Do you remember what that was?
I think she told me last night. So yeah, I do remember. If you'd have asked me earlier, no.
Yeah.
So that's Jojo Rabbit. Is that right?
We haven't covered Jojo Rabbit.
But no, well, we've seen Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, we've seen Jojo Rabbit, but
Oh crap! I thought it got me. I thought I was being a really A-star student here. I'm not, am I?
What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire.
I try to put that at the back of my head. Apart from when I see a bat,
right?
Then that might come into my head. Apart from that, I prefer Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, that's a really good film. I really like that one by him. And he also did Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Well. Yeah.
Which was really good.
Yeah.
One of the best Thors, actually, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. By far.
And
it's not hard to beat.
He's mighty fine, is Thor. But also, speaking of which, Paul's had a drastic haircut.
You might have seen from the photos, yeah.
He's no Thor. No long hair at all. It's like skinhead. It's like Eminem. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so wanting you to do a reel now of I'm the real Slim Shady or something like that.
I have to dye it blonde.
No, please don't.
Well, no, he's got kind of darkened his hair now anyway. But anyway, so I thought you probably you might enjoy this one anyway. It's quite light-hearted, so maybe sort of style of what Jojo Rabbit is kind of going for in a sense, kind of like that sort of like humbling family vibe going on, but kind of obviously like not really dark humour, but a little bit of a funny twist on things. Yeah,
they're not the normal kind of people, are they?
No.
But they're happy with the way they live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that matters at the end of the day, is as long as you're happy. It's based in New Zealand, and you have this really strong New Zealand accent. Also, what's really strange to me is I work quite a bit with Australia business in my job, and it does sound quite close to being Australian to me. There's not much. If anything, they just have a bit of New Zealand seem to have a bit of a harder twang.
Yeah, I think that's differentiated. I think. Oh, I know for a fact if you kind of like say like you call an Aussie New Zealander, they kind of take it a bit wrong.
I'm so sorry if I've offended anybody, but
no, I don't know if that's a bit the same with like if you said American was Canadian or something like that. Isn't that probably that kind of.
Well, I don't know the difference, do I? I'm not even. I get Irish and Scottish mixed up.
But what I do like about this, the kind of like the scenery, the sweeping landscapes we get.
Straight away
Especially
said Lord of the Rings, didn't I?
Yeah, you kind of get that straight out of the gate, really, from and throughout the film we kind of see these things with the shots where they're kind of like walking over the mountains. It's kind of like
Lord of the
that
Ring.
going, and it even brings that up in.
It does.
Later,
Ricky Bacon.
Ricky Baker.
Make me. Is it not bacon?
No,
I was always thinking it was.
Sorry.
I was always thinking it was bacon, but I don't know if it's the way they were saying it.
Yeah, Baker.
Bacon.
Baker. Yes, this little boy is kind of like being moved around from like foster homes and stuff. He's kind of a bit of a troublemaker. Or as the chapter title calls him, a bad egg.
Bad egg. I love that. I feel like that's such a British saying, though. Like, you're a bad egg. Yeah. But then I kind of find it funny what they say is a bad egg for, because nowadays that's not classed as a bad egg. Like, he graffitis, he steals, yeah, okay. But that's just to get by and live. You know, it's not because you're being greedy.
Like vandalising and stuff, and yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for him to be like stabbing somebody, murder, you know, kind of going down that line nowadays, because children can do that nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where they're like, he's a bad egg and he's a troubled child. It's like, it could be a lot worse. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. But again, for the context of this 12 rated film, it can't be too.
No. Which I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad it's not like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of laughable a little bit because he's not that bad, really.
No.
If anything, he just wants a family to love him. I do feel for any child that is in that circumstance where, just imagine you don't know who your mum is.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how that would feel.
No, it's scary to think about, isn't it, really? And it's like, you've got all these questions about
and
why.
You're alone at such a young age.
Yeah.
With no support. Like, I still rely on my mum heavily now for opinions and advice, and she's my go-to kind of woman. Where, like, the thought of her not being here would be really sad, but the thought of not having that at such a young age, I don't know, it just saddens me to think that anyone could go through life like that.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of think, well, that's how he's ended up being a bit of a bad egg. He just wants somebody to love him. And Bella, is that?
Yeah.
She's my favourite character. I love her to bits. She's got a heart of gold. She's trying to be so nice and endearing towards him.
Unless she starts making fat jokes with him at the beginning, which is like a bit like, comical. Like,
she's trying to kind of level with him a little bit. Yeah. And it's not really working because he's just such a closed book because he's always been hurt.
And so it was like when, what's she called? Paula, the social care worker.
Oh, she's a cowbag.
Yeah. And she's kind of like, oh, let's do the thorough inspection kind of thing. It's like, kind of like a glance at the place. So, yeah, it's okay. Kind of just like want to just palm him off, really. Yeah. It's been just too much like hard work, really, just to send him back into the system.
Because nobody wants him, do they? Because he's too much, But
yes, Bella's very much a comforting person towards him, really. And you've got Hector.
Well, the first time we see Hector, he's got a pig on his back, or a boar.
Yeah.
They call it a pig, don't they, in the movie?
Yeah, I think they do, yeah.
Yeah, because she always says about Piggy.
The other cop, Andy, I think, is the cop. It's just like a guy giving a piggy back.
Yeah. Which can't be light.
No.
Also, another aspect is good on them for, like, hunting their own food and eating what,
off the land,
yeah. I know for a fact I would go vegetarian. Such a hypocrite if I had to kill my own food. I know that's not the right thing to say. And it's like, well, you should be a vegetarian, but it's like, it's just the access, isn't it? It's just too easy.
Oh, yeah. You don't see what's behind the scenes.
If I saw a chicken looking at me and I had to kill it to eat it, I don't think I could do that. Unless you did it.
Yeah. And then I'd cook it off.
And then pretend it's just like chicken that's come in a store, then I might be able to manage it.
Don't know about that. Yeah.
Would you be able to do that?
I think... No, I probably would have to, because I don't think I'd be surviving on just eating leaves or whatever, I don't know, or whatever else, because they ain't not going to sustain me. Struggle the best times when we have meals through the week sometimes, and like, oh, this isn't just not.
When we have a vegetarian day, you're like absolutely fatigued. It's bizarre.
I need something else. Need my meat.
Man loves meat.
Yeah. But, yeah, so like one of the instances Bella does is kind of like, she's like, knocking on the door when he's kind of like, oh, I'm going to bed and everything. He's kind of like speaking to him like, oh, make sure you're okay, like explain like, oh, all the stuff's in your room and there's all this stuff and
left him a knife
for some reason, yeah.
Like in case there's an animal, it's like he could murder you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I find that's pretty comical, yeah.
Yeah. Also, she puts a hottie in his bed, which for me, I've never known a hot water bottle be called a hottie.
It's a good term, I think, yeah.
Well, no, because I'm thinking of like a leggy blonde's in his bed if it's a hottie.
Yeah.
Quite like it though.
Endearing way of putting it, yeah. But
yeah.
That's obviously one of his comfort blankets, really, in a sense.
It's so adorable. Because he grows really to like Bella and he calls her auntie in the end, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And even though he has to run away most nights.
Yeah, but he kind of like doesn't get very far. And
I don't know how he doesn't lose so much weight with running away that far and then like coming back, probably because she feeds him breakfast and second breakfast.
But yeah, it's kind of like, it's funny that how her relationship's kind of all quite nice to like the birthday stuff and everything. But then like the next minute she's like gutting a pig like in the forest, and it's like, well, that's dinner sorted. There's two sides to this, yeah. Yeah,
but she I think that's why she works for him. Because she's nicey and she gives him that nurturing mother feel, but she's somewhat like quirkiness with her, with like killing a boar and kind of got that fighting spirit which he'll respect. Mm-hmm. So it works quite well. But I think the birthday scene's lovely. That actually touched me to think he'd never had a proper birthday.
Yeah, and the fact that he gets his own pet dog.
Yeah. Tupac.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he even knows who Tupac is. He's not that popular, is he?
Well, he's still.
Isn't he not dead?
He's long been dead, yeah. But he's like one of the great hip hop artists of like like Notorious B.I.G. and.
What songs has he done?
Who?
Tupac.
Changes.
I think I've only had one. You know when you could buy a single back in the day.
You mean the Ghetto Gospel? I know you're gonna say. Yeah. that was what's the term? When they release songs that. After the fact, the artist is long past.
Yeah, freaked me out when I used to listen to it though, because like he's dead. I think I was a lot younger at this point.
He's not rising from beyond the grave. It's just they've just some lost tapes or whatever, and they've kind of put it together. Like they've done that with like Michael Jackson.
But I just think that's greedy of the family. Like, oh, I had enough money off him.
Yeah.
I know I sound like Carl Pilkington now, don't I? Like that's like
most
sinister.
Times you do, to be fair. Sometimes.
I'm just like, oh, that's just greedy though. It's like you've had your money, leave him to rest now. What if you didn't want that song being put out?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But yeah,
it's a bit of a grey area with that. But sadly, all this newfound happiness doesn't last for long. Cause
don't get me started on this. This is ridiculous.
Unexpectedly, she just ends up dead.
What does she die of? Like what? What killed her? Nobody knows. Nothing's said. It's so weird, and it's like
so abrupt, and it's like.
What was it? And I'm assuming it's an animal. That's where I'm guessing. But I was like, no, come on. Literally, she's not even been in here half an hour now, and she's dead. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I guess it needs to happen for the story because it wouldn't be the same story. But a little bit of background of what happened to her would have been nice, don't you think?
Yeah, because it'd be coming from even not like a throwaway line as to like someone asking like what happened, and it's like some really funny like I don't know something dropped on her head or something. Oh,
don't get me wrong, I don't want to see her being actually attacked by an animal. That's not it. It's just like you're saying, if somebody just passingly said, "Oh, she died of whatever," then at least you know.
Yeah, the cause and
yeah. It's really bizarre.
So you can make up whatever you want, I suppose. Really.
What do you think happened?
Maybe it's been like a sudden heart attack or something for that quick to have occurred, but so it kind of leaves you in a situation with Ricky and Hector now. We're kind of like, well, because he's not really got along with him and everything. By the way, he's played by Sam Neill, who's you'll know from Jurassic Park, Alan Grant.
Yes, an older version.
Yeah, much older version. Yeah.
And this boy, you said he was from Deadpool.
Deadpool 2, yeah.
I don't remember him.
No?
No. I don't remember Deadpool 2, to be fair. I don't know why I don't. I remember Deadpool 1. Was Deadpool 2 good?
Yeah, it was alright.
Why do I forget films? I only remember the good ones. Or the really bad. Like, the ones in the middle. There's no space in my head for them.
That's fine. I don't blame if you're not remembering much of Deadpool 2, to be fair. But he was in Godzilla vs Kong as well. He was like with Elle's character. Yeah, he was a friend of hers when the facility ends.
And this is why we do this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So wasted on me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah.
So you don't want to trade me in for a new model that remembers, like, boot up my brain a bit.
Mm-hmm. But you might be thinking, like, at this point it's just them the two males now. It's like,
where's the female?
No, I mean, like, it's going to go sour now, like, where it's going to, like, oh, I don't want you anymore type of thing. But
well, it kind of tries to push him away, because I just don't think he thinks he can do a good enough job to look after him.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So a typical man kind of like closing down. I think both of them closed down.
Yeah, because he clearly doesn't, Hector can't take care of himself very much, because it's one of those things where, like, Ricky brings him some food because he's, like, forgotten to eat type of thing, even though he can't really cook himself. It's just a piece of, like,
dried toast.
Yeah. So it's like, clearly it's like he needed her to kind of, like, maintain
normal life. And I think as well, probably because he's so sad about his wife dying.
Yeah.
It's like normal day life things are coming into it. And obviously he's got a letter saying that he can no longer look after Ricky from the government, which is like, well, you thought it was okay, but because now you haven't got a woman.
Yeah, secure.
It's
home.
like, yeah. Well, if he's doing okay and he's done the best that he has and he's not causing any trouble, leave him there.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole principle of this film really, really annoys me.
Right.
Because it's like, why are you meddling with something? Why can't it just be left alone?
Yeah.
Like, just because we're not fitting into that niche of what the government want us to do and all of that, it's like, oh, we have to track these people down in the end. And it's like, why? What are they doing wrong? You're wasting so many resources and money on people who don't want to be found. For what? Why do they need to be in society? Like, if they want to be out of society, well, isn't that their choice? No?
I guess it kind of... Yeah, you wouldn't have a film though, would you?
No, but it does annoy me because, like, a part of me thinks, well, if you don't put yourself... Like, if I had a child, if I didn't register it, didn't have a birth certificate, I could do whatever it wanted, couldn't it?
That's true, but...
Because, like, they're on about these forms, you fill out forms after form after form. Once you're in the system, they've got you. Yeah. It is true.
I know, but I don't know really how logistical that all sounds. It sort of sounds very complicated to just not have a child with no... Yeah.
You won't have to go to school.
But unknown, yeah.
You'd have to
then
teach it at
other
home.
People might be asking questions, though, wouldn't they? If you see him walking out with a baby in the pram and it's like, oh, who's this?
Well, I'd say it's my child, but I just haven't registered. They don't need to know I ain't registered with the government, do they? I just think it's wrong that somebody else can dictate your life. All for that free will and all that. So poor Ricky thinks his best kind of running away. He doesn't want to get back in the system and be put into home after home or either juvie.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to go back there. And it's like, well, he's doing really well here, so why are we meddling? So he burns down the barn, pretending he's killing himself in there. And my gripe here, I know he's only a child, he puts a note saying, please find, like, dead Ricky in the barn or something. Yeah. Love Ricky.
Yeah.
Paper on the door and then lights up the barn.
Although I think, to be fair, he didn't actually mean to... He just meant to burn the body. He didn't mean to burn the barn because he's like, oh, crap, there's all this, like, other stuff that kind of sets the light.
But maybe he should have put the letter in the kitchen or somewhere else. In the house.
Yeah.
Not on the barn that he was going to light up.
Yeah.
And then he runs away and it's like, well, nobody knows that you were in that barn.
No, I know.
So you don't know you were dead, really.
No.
Love how the plastic plate as well, or the plate doesn't burn.
Yeah.
But what did touch me was when he was trying to go out on his own, he brought his hottie with him.
Yeah.
And it shows that he's actually just still a child, and that makes it, doesn't it? It's like, I don't know if you had anything when you were little that you clung on to, as I had a blankie.
I don't think I had anything off the top of my head thinking on that. Maybe there was a cuddly toy perhaps, but nothing like a other, like, inanimate object type of thing with no face on, essentially.
My blankie went everywhere with me. If my blankie wasn't in my bed when I slept, it was a problem.
I can imagine.
Such a high demanding child.
Yeah. So there's that, obviously that innocence to him as well, and he's like trying his best to get by and everything, but then Hector does kind of like stumble across him. But much to his, I guess, annoyance, really, he kind of ends up fracturing his foot, doesn't he?
Yeah, but before then, I kind of think that Ricky makes me laugh because he's like, my feet are wet. And
Yeah. He's whining, yeah.
Yeah, hate the bush. And it's like, well, you ran into it. You went there.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you should have been better, more equipped, like, instead of wearing city clothing. But yeah, poor Hector does twist or fracture his ankle.
And this is the point where I'm pretty sure this is where he's kind of like comes to light about the fact that he can't read.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like he's running at him, but in the process of that, he kind of like stumbles and trips.
Which, I know it's a pride thing, isn't it? You don't want people to think you're thick or stupid or anything like that. And it's not. It's just obviously, it's one of those things where, depending on if you have schools available to you, I know there's certain things where teachers wouldn't be as adhering to it, you know, whereas they really will now try to make sure that you can read and write because it's like one of those basic skills that you do require.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, I don't really think they used to try as hard with it. But I can understand where he's coming from. I'm not the greatest of readers and writers, am I? But I try my hardest out. But if my child, I can read. But if my child told me I couldn't, I think it would annoy me. Yeah. It's like, well, I've got by, thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you think almost around this point anyway? Do you think it's kind of like that sort of vibe of what Up is, you know, with Mr. Fredrickson and Russell a little bit?
I can see that because he's actually trying now. Is Ricky? He does actually want to be with Hector. If anything, it's Hector pushing him away still. Yeah. So I can kind of see where you're coming from with that one.
But he's kind of like begrudgingly trying to like help him along because obviously he doesn't want to leave him to his own devices too much. And
as well, I think he's thinking, what would Bella think?
Yeah.
Like, if she's watching me from above.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be a bit kind of criticised, and I think he's probably doing it for her more than he is Ricky.
And it's not long before they get to this cabin, isn't it? Where they kind of like figure out the fact they are famous in quotation marks because it's like the...
Because everybody's after them, and they think that poor Hector is a molester or something like that, or a paedophile, and that he's holding Ricky hostage. And it's lovely, isn't it, how these stories can just spread like wildfire. And it's like, well...
misconstrued.
Yeah, it's not even the case, is it? It's not even like that. But it's just like rumours, isn't it? But it goes on for so much, doesn't it? This kidnapping thing. And the amount of energy they waste, like...
Yeah, you said, yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't think they actually would go that far, would they?
No. Cause... I mean, you hear stories on news. I mean, we don't see the whole... what goes into it. We don't have the whole police force
and the army.
Down a child. Yeah. One child.
Well, like, I know... the one that I can remember the most of is Madeleine McCann.
Well, yes,
being in the news.
I can say, yeah. But that was yonks and yonks ago, and they're still...
Well, we're still not 100% sure
about that anyway, but, you know, they're not... I don't know how much
time they've tried. I know the parents have tried to put it in, to investigating more into it, but to be fair, not meaning this in a horrible way, if you haven't found now, then it's kind of not looking a great picture at the end, is it? Yeah. But I just think, well, how long is it going to go on for? That went on for a bit, but it probably didn't feel as long as this movie. Kind of trying to hunt somebody down. It's like, if they don't want to be found, just let it live.
Yeah. Or one of the funny lines of this as well is when Ricky's reading out what Reed says on the thing. It's like Hector Caucasian. It's like, well, that's not true.
Oh yeah,
you're obviously white because again the innocence of him. He doesn't know what
Caucasian
means.
Yeah,
not Asian.
Bless him. He's really does pull it off well. Yeah. His character,
especially when he's talking to those other the people actually in the cabin lodge, whatever, and he's like, oh well. It was like make him play with myself because they're getting tired or something or whatever he was saying at that point. It's like it's one of those things like, oh, do you know what you're saying type of thing.
Yeah, you don't know what you're making it sound a hell of a lot worse than it actually is.
So I was like those situations when, but it's not it's done in a funny way. It's not like a silly
No,
way
it's not actually.
yeah.
The humour doesn't despise me, so that's good. It actually works on me. I think I prefer dark humour to silly comedies any day.
Mm-hmm.
So they do actually also shit's just got real. So obviously Ricky loves to think he's a gangster.
Yeah.
And he's got a gun and he's like trying to do the shootout now with these 3 guys that have come in because he's obviously turning sour with the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that obviously poor Hector's a paedophile and he's abused the child from what Ricky's been saying.
Yeah, so he's helping him out from that because they're kind of like tackling him down on the floor and everything. So.
And he does really well. And then I love how Hector kind of brings this line on every time now. It's his new saying to like kind of have between them two.
Yeah, so there's that connection they have going with them. And then there's like a little montage and kind of living off the land type of thing, you know, acquiring bits and bats here and there from when they're kind of like scrimping and scrounging for
it reminds
stuff.
me of an apocalypse where you're going into like these stores a little bit and you're trying to take whatever you can get.
Yeah, it kind of almost kind of like the PlayStation game Last of Us. I don't know if you
the zombie
seen...
one.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but my sister has.
Yeah,
that's what I'm meaning. Like the apocalypse where you're kind of trying to find, scrimp and scrape and create something out of something that might not be like the thought of kind of just even thinking, oh, this is somebody's hat now, I'm going to take it. Like, I don't know if I'd want to take somebody else's hat. I know it sounds weird, especially with coronavirus and everything going on. It's like,
I think that's your least of your worries maybe at that point. But
yeah, true, especially if you're needing to keep warm.
Yeah.
So you kind of get to this nice view where majestical is a word or not a word.
Yeah.
And obviously, Ricky being a bit more educated is saying it's majestic. He should be saying, but they seem to kind of go with this. I actually think majestical sounds better, to be fair, anyways.
Adds a little bit something else.
It makes it more sparkly, a bit of pizzazz.
And Ricky's also managed to bring along Bella, actually, because she wanted to actually be as ashes scattered up in this place where she was describing at the beginning of the film, this sort of like haven for her to be.
And I think that builds the connection with him, Ricky, and Hector a lot more. And also, Hector did mention that Bella just wants to save people.
Yes. The fact that they kind of like found each other because they had no family kind of thing. She kind of brought Hector in because he was almost like a stray dog as well. That kind of thing. She just wants to care for those lost souls in a sense.
And that's why she kind of went well with Ricky.
Yeah.
But sadly, they weren't able to have children of their own either. So that's another sad tale. And I think it was quite apt. Ricky kind of did mention like, and it is true, so true today, like people who want children aren't able to have them. And then people who don't really want them, sadly, can have as many as they want. So they go to another, like, I don't know what they're called. I don't know if it's actually a thing in the bush where these, like, ranger camps
there must be.
are.
Yeah.
And there is a ranger there, isn't he? And he's kind of, sadly, I think he had diabetes and he was, like, having a sugar dip or something.
Yeah, because it scared you, didn't it? When it was like...
Yeah, I thought he was dead. And then he's like, it was like, that was the most scariest part, apart from one other thing that upset me further on.
Yeah. But Ricky, but he's like, I have to go down and get help from somewhere. And he meets this girl on a horse. It's kind of like one of those, again, majestical things, I suppose you could say, of him, where it's like we're not immediately straight away for him, kind of like, oh wow, she's like the most amazing thing I've ever seen type of thing. But she kind of leads him to where she lives. And then he sees, this again, there's some mention about the chapters actually, but each section of the film kind of has these points where it comes up with subtitles saying chapter 7 and it's a little title, and this is called A Normal Life. So I guess at this point he's kind of like seeing what a normal life is like in a normal home, normal environment type of thing, the standard. And he like looking at the TV and sees like an advert for Flake, which is obviously like a
I'm sure that's an old advert as well. It really is such an old advert.
And because he's like, sorry, shade at him, but obviously because he likes his food.
Yes, so do I.
He looks at the advert and then he kind of looks over at her, and then there's like that zoned in where he's just focusing purely on her. It's all like heavenly lights behind her and everything. So it's like.
But I'm just wondering if he's thinking in his head, she could go get me a flake. I don't know if that's what it is, if he's really just really desperate for chocolate, or if he actually thinks she's absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it just hits him at that moment, doesn't it? Yeah.
Kind of glorified by the flake advert, which is kind of, you know, that advert is like kind of sexualizing the flake a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those adverts that you are with the chocolate normally are, aren't they? Like,
Yeah, but more so back in the day, yeah.
It'd be like those M&S adverts as well. You can get those.
This is not just
yeah,
M&S food. Oh, this is not just food. This is M&S food. Is that what they say
at the end? But they describe like this is not just a pork joint. This is one that's been marinated in. Yeah, they go for all that.
Oh, I can't wait for those at Christmas.
Yeah. And then
I don't know if people have Marks and Spencers anywhere else. By the way, when we're saying M&S. It's not. It's Marks and Spencers. It's not anything dodgy.
Yeah. Upmarket like food store.
Yeah.
And clothes store as well. Yeah.
Everything store.
Yeah.
I feel like it does home stuff as well.
Yeah,
it does everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what equivalent that would be like in the UK. Like I think in the US. I don't know.
I don't know.
Let us know if you do know.
What's your high-end supermarket? So then her dad comes back in to the house and he's kind of like, "Oh, I know you from."
It does seem quite youthful as a dad, doesn't he? And a bit simple as well. Like, "Oh, can I have a selfie?"
Yeah,
and it's like, really, of all things, like a father figure should be going, "I know you. Don't you need to be going to like the authorities or something?" You'd have thought, but he's not like that at all, is he?
No.
So it's one of those things where I think he actually stays the night, doesn't he? She sings him a song, and he falls asleep, bless him.
Yeah.
And I think he just realises what actually a normal life could be like, which I think he would value.
Absolutely, yeah.
He deserves it, doesn't he? He hasn't had a normal upbringing, really.
No.
So he obviously still wants to get back to Hector, and he's starting to call him uncle even more so now, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really does. Hector is his family.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to leave Hector behind.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know, so the fact that there was them wearing, or Hector was wearing the blue, like that checkered lumberjack type outfit, and Ricky was wearing the red one. I was like, I feel and that's really meaning something there. So again, in terms of like in a way of like color coordinating in like what do those colors mean, represent, type of thing. All I kind of got from Googling was kind of like they both represent love and strength. So I guess the fact that they're both wearing those colors is kind of like help strengthening one another, and they've got love for one another in their own
weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I think as well, to be fair, Ricky had that red coat throughout, didn't he, as well? So it's like he's been wearing red the entire
which is normally associated with anger, whereas I guess
I think at the beginning it might have been
Hector's with the blue is kind of like more of a calming colour, and he's a bit more
peaceful and I do think as well blue for me is loyal. Like a dark blue for me is like loyal. I don't know why.
Because of that in the navy,
yeah. I just feel like it's one of those kind of loyal kind of colours that you always would stick by somebody.
So still on the run for like 4 months now. We kind of learn that this has been going on, and they're still
chasing him. It's like, really, 4 months? I'm sure you've got some other things you should be doing with your military and army and whatever.
The Marines or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And the helicopters, the amount of money they're wasting on this.
Yeah.
Like, they obviously don't want to be found. So it's like, just leave them be. There's even 10 grand reward to get them.
Yeah.
Like, why? I don't get it. But I understand now, like, they're getting hitmen because who wouldn't want 10 grand?
Exactly.
I don't think I could morally do it. Like, I know you're not killing him, but it's like, if they don't want to be somewhere, then let them live their lives. But there is some people there, like, just want a quick win.
Quick buck, yeah.
And there's these 3 guys that they met in the
whole earlier, yeah. And
they keep kind of coming back, don't they? Like bad pennies. But I love it because they always steal the stuff, take the guns. And that's when they come up with the Wilderpeople name, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, because Ricky early was reading at the cabin, he was reading about wildebeest, and now they like travel for miles and miles and stuff. So that's kind of like coins the phrase, "We're the Wilderpeople," him and Hector.
Even though it's funny, that is
Yeah.
quite comical because like you're the what?
Yeah. But then we kind of get to a point where, yes, sadly to say, I did kind of forget about this part and like, oh, I can't remember how violent it got with the.
Well, it's only meant to be a 12, so you should have been like not thinking it was that bad, really.
Yeah.
But also, Sophie doesn't like animals getting hurt.
Well, no, I don't think many people do. But yeah, it's kind of like a. It's not too graphically violent, but it's kind of like very upsetting the fact that this massive boar, which I think is definitely looked like some kind of model. It wasn't like a real built boar. It kind of like look about it. It was kind of like almost like a puppet type of thing, because based on the size of it as well, it was like unrealistically massive.
It reminded me of what did we watch? An anime? Oh no, it was an anime. It was boring. There was a boar in it. It was around your birthday. I forgot what the film was called.
Oh, Beast of the Southern Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
I thought when you said anime, I thought or animation.
Is it Spirit Away as well?
I thought you were going to say Princess Mononoke, which is at the boar at the beginning, and it's like that's like an evil spirit.
I feel like that might be two of the that are popping into my head. Yeah. But boars are not friendly things, are they?
No, they are quite vicious. They've got a lot of weight to them. And
when you ride it on Crash Bandicoot, you're fine.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So that's a cartoon. Little tiny boar, yeah.
Yeah. So it's two sides of things, isn't there?
Yeah, but this one's really big. It's scarily vicious that it does like tear into this little the dog Zag.
Oh, it really upsets me. I couldn't look. I know it was the whimpering that would just get me, and it was like I'm thought of putting him out of his misery because you have to, wouldn't you? And
you do, yeah. It's the kindest thing to do.
It is. But I don't know. I'd struggle to do that. Even though I'd know it'd be the kindest thing to do, I don't think I could think I'd shot my own dog. So I don't really like that scene.
And then shortly after that, we're kind of getting into the winter months. Now
shit's getting real.
Yeah. Another panning montage of which I kind of like these kind of like shots that kind of like the passage of time and all this. What are people doing, like in their search and all that kind of stuff, and it's like it's really cleverly done with that effect of transitioning.
Yeah, you don't have to really. It's not too intense, but you can kind of no much speaking having to be involved. Yeah. It's just the visuals,
a music track over the top, and eventually we do come into this other guy, this the character that's kind of thrown at the last act.
He just seemed like he's been, what's the word? Not in human life kind of form anymore. I think he's man/bush, doesn't he?
Bushman, yeah.
And
Psycho Sam is also what he's...
I think he just needs a bit of human connection, bless him.
Yeah, he's one of those, tin hat wearing people, because he gets them to, when he gets them into his abode, and it's like, put these on so they can't track your signal. Or it's like, what? I've got
even though then he messes around with the phone thing.
I know, it's like, that's so contradictory.
Yeah, like, he's the one that causes the whole ending to happen.
Yeah.
Have to say, though, got really excited with the song from Home Alone. The dun, 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 dun.
Carol of the Bells, yeah.
I thought I did that really well, no?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Christmas! And it's not far, is it? I know we've got Halloween. I know.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, don't talk to me about that.
You love Halloween.
I do, I just don't love the scary films. I love the candy and the leaves. I love the nice bits of Halloween. Yeah. And this is where it's like, it starts getting... It's good and it's action-packed and you get like a really good driving scene from it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, for me, it's like, the end bit, is it... Not the end, but the end of this kind of scene. Is it going to annoy me a little bit?
Right. What's the outcome of the...
Yeah. And like saying, like, they kind of get caught, don't they?
Yeah. So
I really thought they might have got scot-free from this again.
Right.
And kind of just been Wilderpeople for the rest of eternity. Like, that's how... and one of the ways it could have gone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they were going to get caught. I really didn't. I don't know why. Just thought they were doing really well. They've been on the road for like 5 months now in the bush.
Yeah.
Surviving and everything. So I just thought that's how they were going to live their lives. They do get kind of in a scrapyard with the car, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah.
Because it probably by the time that boy has driven that car down to the ground.
Yeah, it reminded me of when we were playing Mass Effect recently, and it reminds me of the Mako, which is that vehicle that kind of just like all-terrain thing. It just bounces around the suspension of that a little bit, and it's...
Yeah, his driving is a lot better than yours on Mass Effect. Not gonna lie. I don't know how them people don't throw up when they get out of that car.
I know.
I would not want to be in that car with you. I'd be yelling at you.
Not very good on driving in games anyway. So.
Oh, I love driving in games. Remember, I'm really sad, aren't I, when you used to play L.A. Noire? I'm like, can I do the driving
you
bit?
Do that. I'm not interested.
But I'd have to, I always
skip those bits, like, just get to the actual detective stuff,
Oh,
please.
I know. I love it. And I'd be so sad. I'd stop for the red lights. I'd park up properly.
Yeah. But it's alright in a game like GTA, where you can just, it's okay to just smash into other people.
But I value my car.
Yeah. Yeah, but, yeah. So, yeah, it got to the end of that. It's kind of like, right, Hector's like, this is like the end of it for me. Especially as they turn the car over and he's kind of like, his leg's already knackered as it is.
Yeah, it's got even worse.
It's like, I just, kind of give up.
He surrenders, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But then Ricky annoys me in this bit. He's like, he's a molester. He's like, I don't understand what is his aim with that?
Yeah.
Is he thinking then he's not going to turn himself in because he's shouting that?
Yeah, and it's like, all right, I'll still run away with you. But yeah, it's kind of like almost, again, reverting back to a childish motive of, you've gone through this really long journey with him and you kind of throw it away.
Throwing him under the bus or the car. And then he shoots him in the arse and I'm like, literally, like, it feels like he's stabbing him in the back a little bit.
I know that wasn't intentional.
I know, but it's like, it was meant to be comical, but I didn't find it funny.
You're laughing about it now, though.
No, I'm laughing at the fact that you're looking at me like, oh, Sophie, humour police.
Yeah. But, yes, sadly, Hector's taken away in the police car and Ricky's also taken away in a separate one. Paula kind of like, I've got him. Right, you got him now.
Oh, she's a pain in the arse, she is. Yeah. She reminds me of Mrs. Trunchbull.
Is it the tied back bun hair? Yeah.
And the black hair, and just like she doesn't really care, but she wants that child put in its place.
Yeah, was it the no child left behind or whatever mentality?
Yeah,
motto she keeps reinforcing throughout, but
it's not for his good of his.
Yeah.
It's so she can feel like she's accomplished her job.
Yeah, taking it way too seriously.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah,
like a bit of a vendetta towards him. I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ultimately, though, Ricky does get his like normal life that he's been sought out to be based on that chapter that we mentioned before, because he gets obviously the court hearing or everything, and it's kind of like, well, one way or another, they decide to let him stay with the girl and her father, really, and he gets to have a green water bottle, which is like almost like a peaceful motif. So he gets his comfort blanket once again, and he's got a little happy home to be in. Yeah.
And he's got his hottie.
Yeah.
It's adorable. Yeah.
But it's not all doom and gloom for Hector, because he's kind of like put in like one of the... He comes out of prison, doesn't he, in the epilogue.
He does, which I don't know how long he serves, but you don't really figure that out.
No.
Or if somebody bails him out, I'm not sure.
And then he does have to go into this... like almost like
it looks like a home, doesn't it? Like a nursing home or something. But they're all old, he says.
Yeah.
And he's quite young and still youthful and wants to get around and do things. And I think he's just a bit bored, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. You see him on the porch trying to read, so he's trying to better himself that way.
I love that, because it shows at any age you can learn anything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, learn something new. And Ricky shows up to kind of say how you doing type of thing and give him a hug and all that and stuff. And
it's like, you shouldn't be here, but he should be, because they're family.
Well, I like the fact that it's like, oh, well, are you come with us or not at the end of this whole thing that you're saying? It's like, as if like, you could just leave at whenever, at any point, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's a strange thing to think, you're not going to run it by somebody first.
True, but it's a film, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
But the one condition is that Ricky can call him uncle.
Yeah.
And Hector's is, you don't shoot me again.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him. Don't think anyone likes being shot, not by is it like 13 or 10 years old or something?
Yeah.
And I think it's a lovely little touch that Ricky's saved up and got himself a camera, which, I think it was a Canon.
I didn't see up that close, really.
It was, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And they're going to go photograph and try and find this
Oh yes,
bird that's meant to be
I forgot to mention that before. Yeah, this rare bird that was called a Hooya. Hooya.
I didn't think it was real initially. We had to Google it, didn't we?
Yeah, I'd forgotten. I was like,
and it came up on Google initially. Hooya is like a hooray
or something.
Yeah. But no, it is actually a bird, but it is extinct.
Yeah, like the dodo.
Yeah, that's. Shall we try and put something else in here? Because I don't want to end on a extinct note.
Well, no, I think it's really just the fact that they kind of like going out on another adventure, aren't they? Really kind of like being back to being Wilderpeople, essentially.
Yeah, but they come back home, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it's a bit more a nice scenario rather than just like we're lost.
Yeah, they're just going on a trek, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
It's like going on a walk, I guess. The equivalent for them.
Yeah, that's the film.
Would you want to be an avid bush person?
No, I don't think I would.
Would you not?
No.
What would put you off?
The dirt, the bugs.
Oh, the mud. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, Paul's not very good with mud. Are you? Not squelchy mud, no.
No, it's the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
I think I could handle it more than you.
Think about all like the spiders and stuff that you'd have in the...
You'd whack them.
While you were sleeping or whatever, and crawling all over you.
No!
Yes.
No,
they just sleep in the bush.
They go sleep wherever they want. Why would they want to crawl on me? Like, just peacefully live your lives elsewhere. And it'll be fine. But yeah, no, the creepy crawlies probably wouldn't be my forte.
No.
I couldn't kill a pig if it came at me. I'd feel really bad. I'd either cry afterwards.
You'd cry afterwards. Yeah, but you'd still want to live, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to...
Yeah, but I'd feel bad for killing it.
Well, what about if like a rabid dog was attacking you? Even though you like dogs.
I'd find it hard. I know I'd have to self-defense myself, but I'd still feel bad. It's a life that I've taken.
I know, but...
I find it difficult with insects. I try, but I'm biased with insects.
Yeah.
I am. Like daddy long legs spiders, they don't get... But like if it were a butterfly, I'd try save it. If it were a big moth that's the size of a butterfly, I'd try save it.
Okay, so score time.
I think for me, I am going to go in the middle, easy breezy. I'm not in love with the film.
Right.
I do like the character development.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wouldn't want to be like, oh, that's on my must-watch list every year or something like that. It's one of those, I've seen it. That's good enough for me.
Okay.
Probably if I watched it again, I knew what would come in, so it's not as exciting.
Okay.
It still is really, really beautifully done. The characters are really well casted. And I think it is nice to see the relationship grow on screen, which is always a perk for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's... I shouldn't compare, but I'm just thinking of like what we watched last episode.
Yeah.
In comparison for my level of enjoyment, I definitely preferred True Romance. So do go check out that one as well, because it's brilliant. I think it's just like, I know it's not fair to compare them in that way because it's completely different.
Sure.
But from a level enjoyment perspective, I should be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I know, did I score that like, I feel it was like in an 8 or maybe higher than that. So I feel this can't be any higher than maybe a 7.5 for me.
Yep.
It's brilliant. Obviously, New Zealand, it makes you want to go on holiday. It does, because it's so beautifully done, and I'd love to go to where the hobbits live and all of that. They did make me want to go on holiday.
Yeah.
And it does build up a brilliant relationship. I just think there's a couple of little gripes, like Bella dying and not knowing.
No.
I feel like she could have branched out a little bit more in the story, and we could have kept her a little bit longer. Because it didn't feel as devastating, because they'd only just started getting that connection, whereas if they'd have got a bit more of a connection, her and Ricky, I might have felt a bit more sad. If anything, it was more like a what the hell moment I had, instead of like feeling upset that she'd died.
No.
But I think, yes, a good solid 7.5.
Well, I'm surprised you did know that that's also the what I was going to score it as well.
Copycat, high five.
I had not seen it in a while, but long enough to have me enjoy it and be like laughing at the humour in it. That was...
You do love a good humorous film.
Yeah. That worked, not just, like you say, so not really silly humour. And it's good character building, engaging story, light-hearted enough to not bog you down with, oh, this is really boring, even though
Mm.
the only slight nitpick, maybe just the back end where they're kind of like, well, where they're really in pursuit of them at the end, dragged on a little tiny little bit too long. But
You mean in the car chase?
yeah, with that really, or maybe 10 minutes trimmed off, and maybe when it make an hour and a half film, maybe would have made it like really more solid.
Do love a good hour and a half film.
Very rare to come by these days.
Yeah.
But no, I do like Taika Waititi's humour anyway.
He was in it actually as well.
Yeah,
we forgot to mention that.
Yeah, it's the priest.
That was an odd funeral, that was, though, to be fair. I'm like...
Yeah, that's funny. I think it really strikes me as, like, I guess one of my favourite comedy directors, I suppose, if you want to class him as that. And, yeah, just location shoots are just very majestical.
Majestical, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that should be added into the dictionary, that word.
Yeah. So, yeah, overall, a good, solid watch and enjoyable. I don't think it would need to be like a 15 rated film to make it anything special. I think it works as what it is, really, and because then it might be too extreme with like some violence and things like that. And
I think it works well for Ricky.
Yeah.
Because he can still add his innocence into it, so then you know he's a child. Whereas I think if it was a 15 and it was a bit more blood and gore, I think that would take away his innocence a little bit more.
Yeah, and you know the use of shit and stuff is kind of like that's more acceptable at a 12 rated level. Yes. If that makes sense. As opposed if you're dropping F-bombs and
a lot
more vulgar humour, then like, this is just trying to be edgy for the sake of it. So yeah, I know. I think
it'd have made it darker, to be honest.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely think it works.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening to this episode. And of course, if you want to go listen to all our other episodes, you can find them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from. And of course, we are also on the social media platforms of Instagram and Twitter at SP_filmviewers.
So if you want us to review anything, want to leave us any nice, lovely comments, you can also kindly leave a review on Apple Podcast or Podchaser, if you want to be so kind. I think they rank it out of 5 stars.
Yes, we want the 5 stars, obviously. Clearly. No 1 stars.
No, please. No, you'd really hurt my feelings.
Yes.
I love how it was just my feelings that came into that consideration, not yours, Paul. Sorry.
Also, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee page as well. If you also want to make a contribution there, that'd be great. We definitely appreciate it. It's getting colder now here in the UK. So it's more coming into autumnal kind of feel and vibe. Those hot coffees and hot teas. Hot teas, maybe a hot chocolate. Yeah. No, splash the boat out, get some whipped cream on it. Yeah. So, thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you next time. Speak to you next time. Bye now. Bye. Bye.